Hi, Doug with 8-Twit Engineering here, and today I wanted to go over a handy way to soak your axe head in linseed oil. Now, before I even get into the contraption here and the technique, you might be wondering, well, why would you want to soak your axe head in linseed oil in the first place? And the main reason is that over the years, temperature and humidity differences, seasonal or otherwise, and just the wood aging in the I'll call it the neck wood that goes into the eye hole. It can shrink and expand too, but overall it's a shrinking. And what soaking your axe head in linseed oil does is just expand that wood and make sure that you have a snug fit for years and years. There's an old saying that with a freshly hung axe, which is that's just the word for like mounting an axe head on a handle. So a well hung axe, after that initial hanging, you soak it for something like once a day for a week for a month, once a year for the rest of your life. There's some adage like that, and for me it really rings true. You can get a really nice axe with a really nice snug fit, but you'll find that after you use it over the years, when it gets to that third, fourth year, it'll start wobbling a little bit. And yeah, this is where the soaking comes in handy. So if you Google wobbly axe head, axe head moving, this is the result that will come up. It'll just say, hey, soak your axe head in linseed oil. What they don't ever really go over in any Google result or video that I've seen is precisely how to do that. Like, sure, you could just get a bucket of linseed oil, but just for this small container here, it was like 15 bucks. So like, what are you supposed to just buy $100 worth of linseed oil? Like, what are people doing? Also drying, like how are people drying it? So that's what this video is for. I've come up with a nice way of doing that. So you can see right here is a kitty litter box that I picked up for like $1 at Goodwill, like a secondhand store. And I have 2 Ziploc bags, one smaller for hatchets and one bigger for axes. And what I've done is just put some paper towel in the bottom of this bag and then filled it up with linseed oil. And when I'm not using it, I keep it upright with these clamps just so lessen the chance of leaking out. And the paper towel, of course, is so that the potentially sharp edges of the axe don't tear through the bag. It's just some cushioning. You can also see, so I've been soaking this one for a few days now. It started getting a little wobbly. This is my big Papa Smash, 5 pounds of sharpened German steel. And I have a board here that presses up against the axe head, and I have this rock here to just keep it all snug. And that's so I can use less oil, so that when you push the board against it with the rock, the level of oil rises in the bag. So without that, you would just have to fill it with more oil. And what's nice about these Ziploc bags too is that you can zip it so that you get a pretty snug fit around the handle. Now, this isn't airtight, but what I've experienced is that after just a day or two, the air kind of settles. So like when you just put this in and you keep it in your basement, for example, your basement will have a slight smell of linseed oil, and if you go up and sniff around, you'll smell it. After a day, that goes away. And I think what's happening is that the inside of the bag and the outer environment are coming to an equilibrium or something, so that it's not airtight, but it's kind of keeping a little micro environment there where the oil is not undergoing oxidation. So it just potentially extends the life of your oil to have it zipped up as tight as possible while the axe is in there. And of course the Ziploc bags let you, again, zip it totally so you can just don't have, you can use it next year and the oil will still be fresh and not like oxidized. And you'll find that if you just leave oil in the open, it'll start to get like a jello-like consistency, and then it'll actually harden too. I think the word for it is polymerization with linseed oil. And besides linseed oil, read the description. I'll just look. You can use Danish oil. I think you can use a tongue oil. They all serve the same purpose of expanding the neck wood that goes through the eye hole and keeping things secure. And of course, there's also a protective aspect to this too. Like I said, the oil will polymerize if you just leave it, if you leave the bag open, which is bad, but it's good in the sense when it polymerizes on the surface of the wood, because it forms a protective layer. And that's one of the reasons why you soak it year after year, is that that layer will wear away just due to whatever, sunlight, moisture. So you're just constantly building up that protective polymer layer. So let's just get my hatchet in there. So the opening is smaller than the axe head, so you kind of just have to thread it through, blade first, very carefully, because you don't want to puncture the bag. I'll just press the wood up against it, and boom, ready to go. So the oil, you want it at least like a centimeter up the axe handle, so it's not only getting soaked up from the top of the axe, but also going down into the axe head as well. Now, as far as drying the axe off, the best way I found is to take a bit of paracord and tie a double overhand noose, also called a poacher's knot. I'll just have a link in the description for that. And you just tie it around the swell of the axe handle. And this is a slip knot, so it ties on snugly here. And then just, hang it from, I hang it from a copper pipe in my basement, just like this. And you can also put a little pan, again, Goodwill, $1, a little bread pan, and just catch all the oil that's dripping off, and then you can just put it right back into your bag so you don't waste it. Now, after it drip dries for about a day, just take a paper towel, wipe off any excess, and you should be good to go. If you have a slightly wobbly axe head, then you'll find that it's nice and snug again. So I hope this system has been helpful for you. If you're also wondering how to not spend $100 on linseed oil, so please like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.